Hi, welcome back to Rocky Mountain Prepper. We are continuing in this video with our Strong Foundation series. When we last left off in the Bible, we finished Genesis 1 and 2. We heard the story God gave us of how He created the universe and everything in it. Then he went back and explained how he made man and had Adam try to find a helper amongst the animals. And then he created woman for man. So let's continue. Genesis 3. In Hebrew it would be Bereshit 3. And the Nashash, serpent, was more crafty than all the lives of the field which Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, "Is it true that Elohim has said, 'Do not eat of every tree of the garden'?" And the woman said to the serpent, "We are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, 'Do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die.'"
Ew.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And the serpent said to the woman, "You shall certainly not die. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil." And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of the fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Now, we all are kind of used to animals not speaking to us, so that's a little odd. Anyone I know would have had a serpent speaking to him and just been like, "No, I'm out, peace,"
Like peace.
and ran.
But
we don't know what the animals were like.
Attack.
Yeah, we don't know what the animals were like that early in creation.
I mean, they could have been able to talk to us.
Yes, they could have. And the fact that Adam was standing right there and didn't stop her, well, that's kind of odd. But it shows his love for her, knowing that it was bad, but he took it anyway, knowing what would happen, what God had said would happen.
They would be killed.
Yes. So let's go on. And then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves.
Okay, hold on. Just to say something. That would be like really bad. Like they would deteriorate really quickly, so they'd have to like keep on sewing stuff together.
Yes, they would. They would definitely. And they heard the voice of Yahweh, Elohim, walking about in the garden toward the wind of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh, Elohim, among the trees of the garden. Now,
I've tried to hide like that, and I'm
doesn't
terrible
work.
at it.
It doesn't work.
Especially with God. I mean, He can see everything.
Yes, but this was not the Father. I firmly believe that this was actually Jesus, because it says in Exodus, let's see. In Exodus 33:20, but he said, "You are unable to see my face, for no man does see me and live."
They saw him, and they were living.
Yes, you cannot look upon the Father, so that must have been Jesus, Yeshua, pre-incarnate. And just like in our lives, he came and sought them out. He seeks us out where we are in his ministry. Jesus didn't just teach in the temple and the synagogues. He went to the people, which is very powerful because he comes to us. Let's continue here. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard your voice in the garden and was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." And he said, "Who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat?"
That's like if I were to know what my birthday present was.
Yes.
Obviously, I would have been scavenging through.
But also,
closet.
he's giving Adam a chance in this.
To tell the truth.
Yes, to come clean, to confess, to repent of his sin. Let's see what he says. And the man said, "The woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate."
Blame.
Yes. I can see God just... Okay, I'll play this out. And Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The Nashash," or the serpent, "deceived me, and I ate."
Blame.
Yahweh Elohim said to the Nashash, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than any livestock, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go, and eat dust all the days of your life."
Dust is nasty.
But where is it we came from? Dust. He is to...
From dust, and to dust we shall return. So pretty much he's eating us.
He's getting to that part. But he created us out of the dust of the earth, and so the serpent, Lucifer, has to prey upon the dead, the dust of the earth.
He eats them.
No, he preys upon them. He doesn't eat their. He doesn't eat them. He doesn't eat their souls. He preys upon them. He tries to draw the people in.
No.
Let's go on. "And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall bruise his heel." That is the first prophecy of Jesus, right in there. Because what did Jesus do to Lucifer? He defeated him. He damaged his head. And what did Lucifer do to him? He crushed his heel. He barely damaged Christ. He wounded him mildly. You get a small injury to your heel. What is it?
He probably got a concussion. The serpent.
No, it's more of a mortal wound to the head. That's actually also prophesying the Antichrist, who was wounded in his head. We'll get to that eventually in Revelation.
That's like very far away.
It will take us time. To the woman he said, "I greatly increase your sorrows and your conception, bringing forth children in pain. And your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you."
So what does it mean when he said when God said like more sorrows?
You're gonna worry more about your kids, and
so
it's
pretty
gonna
much
be
more
it's
estrogen
gonna be,
in the house.
No,
Oh.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's also going to be, you're going to worry about your kids. It's going to be more difficult for you to bring forth children. Before this, it probably would have been easy for a woman to give birth. Kind of like you see an animal giving birth. They don't stress about it. It's not that hard on them. But women, humans, it is.
Especially when the baby can't come out on its own.
Yes, that is another part of the curse of Eve. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and you have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it, cursed is the ground because of you. In toil are you to eat of it all the days of your life, and the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread, until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and dust you shall return. Anyone who's ever had a garden curses Adam every year when they get the garden ready. It is very hard work. It is rewarding work, but it is very hard work. We must take that task and do it with joy to the Lord. And the man called his wife's name Havana, which in English is translated as Eve, because she became the mother of all living. Now, I think that is one of the most beautiful statements. It's like the first love poem. Here they are starting to be punished for the crimes that they just committed, for disobeying. He could have turned to her and cursed her, but no, he gave her a beautiful name and called her the mother of all living.
Well, I mean, it's kind of true because, only by the help of a man can a woman have a child. But the woman's carrying it for 9 months.
Yes.
Heavy. That's like a workout.
Yes, it is. But it is a labor of love. And Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. He taught us how to make clothes. And gave us the first ones. And Yahweh Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat it and live forever. They didn't want us to live forever in our imperfect state. So Yahweh Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken.
I thought it was toil.
And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. We don't want to go find the garden. Trust me. Cherubim, they're not the little cute baby angels. They are scary, monstrous
They're not the
angels.
tiny, cute angels that you would think of. They're
They're described later, and they are very, very powerful and vicious. Let's hydrate. Genesis 4. And Adam knew Havana, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gained a man, Elohim, or a man, Yahweh, man God, in some translations. And again she gave birth to his brother Habel, or Abel. And Abel became a keeper of the sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the ground. It's very likely that they were twins.
I'm pretty sure they were, because...
It doesn't say he knew her again in that one. And anyway, and it came to be, in the course of things, that Cain brought an offering of the fruits of the ground to Yahweh. And Abel also brought the firstborn of his flock and of their fat, and Yahweh looked on Abel and his offering. But he did not look to Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. He was pissed off. It's more the reasoning behind it. It wasn't, because there are grain offerings later, and it's not that one thing is better than the other. It's how you bring it to God, why you do it. Likely, Cain saw Abel bringing his first fruits and said, "Oh, I should bring something to God too," and just grabbed some. Not his first fruit, not the best of his crop. So God didn't have favor on it.
And so he probably also was like, it's fine if it looks like an apple, like a
not the best
fruit
of, not the best quality.
Yeah, and like smushy.
And
Although
later on
some
in
fruits are the
Leviticus,
best
it does
when they're
say,
smushy.
in Leviticus, it does say that you are to bring the best of your produce, the best of your flock, the best of your crops to God.
So
you bring him what you would want for yourself and your family, not the leftover stuff.
So if I have an avocado that's the first of my avocado farm or plant, I would give it to him?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Like,
we are to
right
bring
when
him,
it's ripe.
Avocado don't ripen on the tree.
They don't?
No, they actually ripen a couple days after they're off the tree. An enzyme is released when you pick it that finishes ripening it.
I'd have to look online to see what it looks like then.
Yes, you would. But
That's confusing.
the point is, you bring God your first and best. If it's an animal, it's it even says like a sheep that's without blemish or injury. So you bring them the best,
a white sheep that's completely white.
Yes.
Except for the black of their eyes.
Yes, maybe it's nose and feet. You bring them the best quality. You bring God the first thing and the best quality.
I know why he says it has to be white, because white is pure.
That too. We don't know all the reasonings, but
I accidentally looked in the light.
Okay, don't do that. You bring him the best that you have. If it looks worse than your neighbor's, oh well. You're bringing the best you have. And that should be in here too. You give God the best of yourself. And you give the world the rest. And Yahweh said to Cain, "Why is he wroth towards you? And why is your face fallen? It is not if you do good. Is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? And if you do not do good, towards the door is a sin. He is lying, and towards you he has desire, and you must overrule him." Basically saying, knock it off. You're starting down a bad path here.
Pretty much don't have a tantrum, dude.
Yes.
You don't need to have one.
This will only end badly. You will get upset about this. It's going to escalate, and bad things are going to happen. Knock it off, kid.
For a second, I thought you were talking to me.
No, that's more translating what God was saying towards Cain. And Cain told Abel his brother, and it came to be when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him.
Murderer!
Yes. That's exactly it. But
First murder. How dare you?
yeah.
Couldn't that wait until
See how
like
quickly
the
things
end?
see how quickly things have devolved from perfection in the garden?
It's like
One sin leads to another, leads to another, leads to another.
at least 15 years after that.
We don't know exactly how
I'm
long.
gonna go with 15 years.
Possibly, maybe 10 or 12. It depends on how quickly they matured.
And of course, you had to just murder.
And obviously, Cain was a precious little snowflake that couldn't take
Right
God
after.
criticizing him over his sacrifice. And Yahweh said to Cain, "Where is Abel, your brother?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's guard?"
Liar.
In other translations it says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And Jesus vaguely kind of answers that later. Yes, you are your brother's keeper.
Yeah,
That's the point of him coming
Wait,
down.
wasn't he older?
Cain was older than Abel.
Yeah, wait.
By at least a few
Abel
minutes.
was...
We don't know for sure how much.
Wait, wasn't Abel the one that got killed?
Abel, yes.
Okay.
But Jesus said later, when he was in his ministry, Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Well, Jesus was answering the question all the way back here. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes.
Yes, you are.
You are your brother's guard.
No, it would be if it
All
was
men
the other
are
way
your
around.
brothers. All women are your sisters. You are to protect your neighbor because they are family through God. We are to look out for one another. Otherwise, everything falls apart.
I feel like if it was the other way around, it would still be like, hey, you're supposed to, you're still your brother's keeper because you gotta look out for each other.
Kind of. Okay. And Yahweh said, oh wait, I already read that. And he said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." That's the first evidence in history of forensics.
Forensics.
Yes. Science of finding evidence.
Of course.
God was using forensic science, saying, the blood says that you did it.
The blood says it?
Okay, honestly, it was the only other person who could have, the only other man that could have killed Abel was Adam. Adam was probably off over somewhere else doing
And your
his
mother
thing.
wouldn't even be able to.
Well,
she
could have
loved
done
him
it.
too much.
She could have technically done it. I mean, mothers kill their kids all the time, which
Really?
is still bad. Yeah, it happens. It's bad, but it happens.
But I can see that
But-
during a miscarriage, but I mean,
Well, what do you think abortion is? It's murder.
how dare you?
But still, it says right here that his blood cried out. A lot of forensic scientists say that the evidence cries out who the perpetrator was.
It's most
They're doing the same thing. And
most
people say,
likely-
a lot of people will look at the Bible and say, "See, it's all superstitious nonsense. How can the blood cry out to God from the ground?" With God all things are possible. But our forensic scientists do the same thing. They say the evidence cried out. Scream to us who did this.
Now, nowadays, for the forensics, it's a metaphor.
Well, yeah, but the evidence still points to the person.
Yes. And with God, anything is possible. You
Yeah.
can fly if you're in with God.
Well, if you're with God, why would you want to? That would take you away from Him. But okay, let's continue.
I just fly closer to heaven.
If you're with God, you're in heaven. So why would you want to fly?
So I can go to the edge, and that way I don't have to use my clumsy feet.
But in heaven, you wouldn't have clumsy feet. In heaven, you'd have perfect feet that weren't clumsy. Okay, let's move on. "And now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood, and from your hand."
Does that mean it's soaking into the ground?
Yes.
Disgusting!
What? The ground cleans up our messes.
Yes, but I mean, it's like
Let's-
carpet. You
No,
spill
it's
something,
not. It's not like carpet.
and it soaks it up.
Dirt is different than carpet. It soaks it up and it pulls it down lower as it rains and whatnot. Okay, let's continue. If you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you, and you shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on earth. And Cain said to Yahweh, my punishment is too great to bear. See, you have driven me from the face of the ground today, and I am hidden from your face. And I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and it shall be that anyone who finds me kills me. And Yahweh said to him, well, if anyone kills Cain, he shall be avenged sevenfold. And Yahweh set up a sign for Cain, lest anyone finding him strikes him.
Wait.
God is putting his protection on the first murderer. He's showing mercy. Yes, his punishment still stands, but he is giving him a mercy by saying, hey, yes, you'll be a wanderer. No, you cannot grow abundant crops, but so that no one tries to kill you later, I am putting my mark on you to protect you. I am putting my mark of protection upon you. No one's going to hurt you. You will die an old man.
So he'd have to live with the thinking of how I killed his brother.
Yes.
He'd have to live with the pain. I mean,
The punishment
like,
would be great, because Cain lived a very long time with that.
I'm pretty sure that they were twins, so, and usually twins have, like, a strong bond where, like they can sense if, like,
Sometimes, yes.
their twin is crying, they will end up crying. Like, even, like, kids that are, like, not twins, but they're, like, close in age.
Yes, yes. We know this. So, Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Hanok. And he built a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Hanok.
Hanok.
Yes, Cain's
Abel?
son. No, Hanok.
Cain's son?
Cain killed Abel. Cain took a wife from his sisters. That close to creation, it wasn't an issue.
At the time, it wouldn't.
Nowadays, we are so far from creation that there will be birth defects. They were so close to perfection, genetically speaking.
Wouldn't have.
There wouldn't be an
phased
issue.
anything.
There wouldn't have been an issue. It would have just been a child born, as though they were strangers that met and got married. That's all that means. Yes, it's kind of disgusting because they came from the same parent, but this close to this close to the garden, our genes were not messed up as they are now.
And
they were
also,
more perfect.
it's like nobody else was around besides the animals.
Yeah, and that's even creepier.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to get into bestiality here.
Okay.
And to Hanok was born Arad, and Arad brought forth Mehejael, and Mehejael brought forth Methusael, and Methusael brought forth Lamech. And Lamech took for himself 2 wives. Already they're starting to screw off. It is not good to have multiple wives.
Seriously,
we see that later in Genesis.
Like already we're
Multiple
doing the
wives.
sister. If any, it's like
Yes, it's already sister wives. One was named Adah, and the other named Tishla.
What the weird names?
Yes, they are weird. And Adah bore Yabiel, and was the father of those who dwelled in tents with livestock. And his brother's name was... Okay, it was Yabiel, and his brother was Yabiel.
Yabiel.
Creative father, huh?
Very.
Can you imagine that one?
It's like...
Yabiel! Did you say Yabby or Yobi? Both of you get in here!
I bet they were twins too.
They were close in age. They were not twins. They were half siblings, half brothers.
That would be even funnier if they were twins.
It would have been, but this was actually, I think that was kind of mean of them to have the names so close together. Yabiel, he was the father of those who play the lyre and flute.
Oh, of course.
As for Tishla, she also bore Tabelquin.
Tabelquin?
Tabelquin,
Okay.
a smith of all kinds of tools in bronze and iron.
Okay.
And the sister of Tabequil was Namanash, I think. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, goodness.
Now, this actually shows that
names.
before Noah, they had more than just stone tools.
Dad, it's like Kim Kardashian with her crazy names that she gave her children.
Yes, it is. It is. These names are all really weird, but that's what God told us. The names were listed when he had Moses write the book, or at least the first 5 books of the Bible.
Oh, he wrote the first 5 books?
Moses did.
Oh.
It was written by Moses. Tradition says it was Genesis was written up on Mount Sinai, and Leviticus shortly after they received the law and built the tabernacle. Numbers was while they were wandering. Genesis, Exodus, Numbers. Deuteronomy was written when they were still wandering, but they were almost to the promised land. And then Moses dies.
You know, they
Joshua
didn't have
takes
to
over.
wander for 40 years.
Yeah, they did. God told them to because they sinned.
I mean...
He had to wait for the generation that sinned to pass away before he could give them the promised land.
Okay, I understand that, but I mean, like... If they didn't have the generation that sinned with it, then they definitely wouldn't have.
Well, they had
to.
just come out of Egypt, out of slavery, and they went on. And if they would have gone straight into the land of Israel, they would not have really appreciated it as much, and they would not have been able to conquer it because they didn't have the numbers yet. God has reasons for doing everything. Yes, he wanted to get rid of that generation that sinned with the golden calf and then go on.
I saw the doge.
Okay. And Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Tishla, hear my voice, the wives of Lamech, listen to my words, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. For Quanan is avenged 7-fold, and Lamech 77-fold. He's trying to act like God. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called him Seth. For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Abel, because Cain had killed him. It actually means, Seth actually means replacement. That is sad that you name your child that.
They named their child that's just...
Yes, but okay, let's continue. And to Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called him Enosh. And then it was begun to call on the name of Yahweh.
I know a kid who
All right,
was
we are
named
going to
that.
stop here for the day.
I know a kid who was named Seth.
Mm-hmm. Next time we will pick up with Genesis 5. I hope you all have a wonderful time. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave comments if you wish. God bless.